All right, what's up, Dragon Brood? The third deck that we have in our kind of, we'll say, upgrade on the way to Forgotten Realms, because we're adventuring in the Forgotten Realms. That's a dumb campy title. Anyway, our third deck here in this series is the Orzhov Clerics list. And I bring this up because we have a lot of people that really enjoy the Clerics list. We've had some people do very well with it over the last couple seasons on the ladder. So this is definitely a deck I know a lot of people have that frequent the channel and people that really enjoy it. So I wanted to make sure at least gave this a little bit of attention because I think there are some very interesting and fundamental changes we can make to this list, utilizing new cards and even bringing up an old existing card that actually might do some work for this deck. And I think that's a big deal too, because you can dip into some of the cards you already have, even though they may be rare or mythics. There's a good chance you already have some in your collection, especially when they're nearly a year old at this point. So that's going to make this a little bit easier to build, I believe, and I think it's not going to really bring down the power level of the deck at all, and that's super exciting. And I think it makes the deck a little bit more versatile, which is also something that you're always going to be happy about. I don't think that's going to be disappointing on any level. But anyway, let's hop right on in and take a look at this Orzhov's Clerics list. Okay, so right off the bat, we're taking a look at one of the new cards. And this is fun because we're getting to play with one of the class cards right out of the gates, because I think a lot of people are going to be experimenting with these. But I think this is actually the type of place where this card really shines. So let me go ahead and come over here to the other page so we can kind of bring this up again. Make it a little bit larger and nicer for you. There we go. There is Cleric class. It is a 1 white mana. And it just starts out with, if you would gain life, you gain that much life plus 1. Then you could pay 4 to move it to level 2. And whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, which is also awesome. It's basically like an additional Heliod in that regard. And then whenever you pay 5, you move to level 3. And when Cleric class becomes level 3, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. And then you gain that much life equal to its toughness. So if you need life in a pinch, boom, you want to get your best creature back, boom. And it's already on a card just sitting on the table. So this is a very versatile card for this type of list, and we actually can use all three abilities on the card in this type of list, which is really awesome. So having that level of versatility in one card and all 3 parts being good, exceptional. All right, so we're gonna start out with Speaker of the Heavens because it's gaining life, and we like that. And it's a 1/1 because we need something to fill that slot for this list. Don't hate it. Being able to get to Angel ability in this could be pretty easy the way we have the deck built now as well. And remember, anytime it attacks, we're going to be gaining 2 instead of 1 because we have Cleric class, which is awesome. Then we have Cleric of Lifespawn. This is one we talked about before with people try to sleep on this card. But honestly, if you're playing Clerics or you're doing life gain where you're going to be able to get the triggers a lot, then let's go ahead and do it. You know, and again, if you're able to gain life with the Cleric class out, it's doubled up, which is awesome. But you're also putting counters on the card every time you gain life each turn. So, or at least the first time each turn. Playing a full set of Luminarch Aspirants, because even though this doesn't gain life, it does grow your creatures and help you in the game, so we're not going to be too upset about that. We are playing 3 Dire Tactics, because we do have a fair amount of humans in the list. Not a ton, but enough. You know, we're talking about Luminarch Aspirant, and we do have Elite Spellbinder, and we have Speaker of the Heavens. So that's a fair amount of humans in the list. Sometimes we are going to have to take some damage from it, but if we're gaining life, who cares? It's not going to be that big of a deal. Playing 1 copy of Shijiri's Shelter just as a finisher. I know we had some people on stream earlier saying, why don't we play Kabira Takedown so we have another removal? But we do already have a fair amount of removal. And what I like about having Shijiri's Shelter is it is an option every once in a while when it comes up to just let you punch through to finish the game. When you get into a weird stalemate or you're just sitting there gaining some life and you really need to just end it and your opponent's at like 4 or 5 life, this is a way you can go ahead and just say, cool, I'm giving protection from this color that they have blockers for, and then I'm just going to get in and get it done. So I think it's good in that regard to just have that 1 extra out in some problem situations. And occasionally, you're going to use it just to defend a creature from a spot removal. Then we have Skyclave Cleric. This is another one that it kind of can double as a land because it's a double-face card with a white land on the backside. But here, where we're trying to gain life, it's actually very interesting because it comes into play and gains 2. Again, if we have Cleric class, it gains 3. If you have the Righteous Valkyrie out, This is going to gain 3 from itself coming into play, and then it's going to gain 2. So that's 5 right there. If you're talking about pushing up to get the Valkyrie bonus, getting to 27 life, that is a big jump all on its own. So we're going to see how it plays out in this list with a couple copies of it. And then we have 2 Vanishing Verse just for some extra removal. There's a chance we're going to end up with a bunch of people still playing some monocolor cards. There's not that many multicolor cards being played. So going to be able to remove a whole lot of things. And this includes like various planeswalkers. They can remove stuff like the Great Hinge, Embercleave, a lot of large threats when you're talking about Gargaroth, Torbrand, just a list of things that this can deal with that is very good for 2 mana. Then, like we mentioned, we have 3 Elite Spellbinders. Just another card that's good for disrupting the opponent, buying you that time you need to try to finish the game, so not upset at that. Then a full set of Righteous Valkyrie, because everything in the deck is a cleric, so every creature is going to be gaining you extra life. Then one of the other new cards we're trying out is the Book of Exalted Deeds. This is a 3 white mana legendary artifact. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained 3 or more life, you create a 3/3 angel. And then you can pay 3 white, tap it, exile the book, and then you basically can't lose the game and your opponent can't win the game. Put that token on an angel you control. So here, this card's kind of quirky, but what I like about it is really not the second ability, but I like it more to be able to just keep making angels, right? If we end up in a situation where we have the Valkyrie out, there's a good chance we're going to be able to gain some extra life every turn, especially with Clerical Lifespan out, with the Speaker of the Heavens out, with Cleric class, you're going to be able to gain extra. So there's a lot of ways we can get to where we need on that point of mana, or 3 points of mana, or life, sorry, not mana, and be able to just keep making angels. And I also like this as a option post sweeper, right? If this is sitting on the board to get rid of your stuff, you're like, great, I'll play this thing, I gain a couple of life, boom, now I have another creature, and we're almost back to reset already and putting pressure on the opponent. So we're going to see how relevant they are. It is triple white, which could be a small issue, but, you know, we're going to check it out and just see how it works. Then we have a couple of Veto of the Thorn of the Dusk Rose, and every time you gain life, your opponent loses life. Another interesting thing, too, I want to point out about the Book of Exalted Deeds is that because Righteous Valkyrie says an angel or a cleric, you're actually going to gain additional life whenever the angel comes into play. So that's actually pretty cool. It's a bonus, too. And then we get access to Aura, Skyclave, Hierophant. And this is one that, like, whenever you have a cleric of die, you get to return something of equal or lesser value. So this is another way to kind of keep cards cycling, kind of draw the game out a little bit more. But again, what I like about this is we have stuff like Cleric class that we can get to where we can get something back. We have Aura that can just naturally let stuff come back. We have Book of Exalted Deeds that makes extra tokens. So a lot of these things can actually keep you from having to overcommit or have concerns about overcommitting, because you have these other ways to keep generating threats, which is a pretty big deal. Now, one of the old cards that I mentioned in the opener that we're going to be playing now is Baneslayer Angel. Baneslayer Angel is one of those cards that's kind of been sitting on the sideline for a while, and everybody knows how good it used to be. And, you know, it had its heyday, and it used to be the MVP, and now you can't even hardly get it into a deck list. Well, looking at Adventures in Forgotten Realms, I think there's going to be a lot of people trying to play various dragons and demons, and, you know, people forget that some of the words on Baneslayer Angel are protection from demons and from dragons. So this means that there's a good chance when people are playing Orcus, people are playing any of the myriad of dragons, like Baneslayer is actually pretty awesome and just be able to block. And if people are also playing Treasure and playing even more Goldspan dragons, well, not only could Baneslayer Angel have protection from it, but Baneslayer Angel also can just fight it. Baneslayer Angel also has lifelink and first strike and flying. So for 5 mana, this is pretty good. We haven't really been playing 5 cost top end in our decks, but I actually don't mind since we've gone ahead and added in the Skyclave Cleric, which actually gives us a couple extra land if we want it, and have Shadiri Shelter. So that actually gives us extra mana to make us feel a little bit safer playing 2 copies of Baneslayer Angel here. Lands, we're playing 4 copies of Brightclimb Pathway. We're playing 4 of the Shine Shadow Snarl. I don't always want to say that backwards. And then we're playing a handful of plains and some swamps, and that is the deck. So definitely should play very similar to the old version, just now we have a little bit more versatility to be able to play the long game. And we're getting some cool abilities from Cleric class also being part of this list. So lots of cool stuff going on that I'm super excited about to see how this works out. But let me know what you think in the comments. If there's other decks you want to see looked at or that we should be playing on the channel here over the next first 2 weeks, let me know. And please do not forget, hit the like, subscribe, notify, all that good stuff. And that's all I have for you for now. We will see you next time.